What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Don't forget to check out my website, ckwraps.com. I'll put a link in the description below for you. Now today I'm doing a chrome trim delete on a Tesla Model 3. A lot of you have been asking for videos like this, so I'm going to show you how. Okay, we're going to need a few things when it comes to this. I'm going to put a link to some of the products that I'm using in the description below. Now we're going to need some gloss black vinyl. We're doing this one in gloss black. We're going to need a knife, a very sharp knife. Make sure that your blade is fresh, that you've just snapped one off. If it's one of the blades that you can snap off. If it's not, get yourself a new one. We're going to need some tucking tools. These help, of course, when it comes to tucking into tighter areas. We're going to need masking tape, 70% isopropyl alcohol, a heat gun, and a clean rag. Okay. The masking tape is first used to prep the surrounding area. So what we're going to do is we're going to mask off the surrounding area. The first piece that I'm going to do when it comes to this is the longer piece across the top here. This being the longest piece on the entire car. The only thing that we're not doing on this car is actually the front and rear emblem. The customer didn't want them done, so we're leaving those in the silvery chrome that they come in. But we're going to be doing the window trim, the door handles, and the mirror, which is again the hardest part. Disassembly is required for the mirror. I'm going to try and show you the best way that I can on how to disassemble the mirror. This way you can actually go out there and do it yourself. But we're going to get to it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mask off the surrounding area for this long chrome trim piece across the top. Now when it comes to doing this, this is a lot nicer than those kits. Those kits don't really give you full coverage. They're very, very tedious to install. A lot of them are wet apply. If it's dry apply, it's going to be hard when it's a pre-cut kit, because the dry apply will not allow you to slide the vinyl around or reposition it if you need to. So that's why a lot of them do come wet apply. So let's mask off as close as we can to that top edge. And we'll come all the way down to this area here, right down here. Now this is just basically so the vinyl doesn't adhere. There is a bit of skill level definitely required when you're doing this, even if it's a pre-cut kit. The pre-cut kits are going to be hard in their own way. I would prefer actually to do it this way. This is called bulking, basically where we're taking an excessive amount of film and an excess amount of film, and we're using that to get complete coverage around the entire panel, as opposed to having it go basically right to the edge, which is what pre-cut kits tend to do, is they tend to kind of go right to the edge, sometimes exposing a little bit of the panel underneath if you don't do it exactly 100% perfect. Pre-cut kits are very hard to do. This interior has a pre-cut kit and it looks absolutely terrible, so I'm going to be actually doing that in a separate video. It's done in carbon fiber. I'll show you that totally different video as far as that goes. I'm going to break this video down into separate sections, so that way we have one for the long chrome trim piece here, we have one for the quarter window, one for this guy here, one for a door handle, and one for the mirror. Because again, it's going to be a very lengthy video if we do it all in one. Okay, so I've masked off the top section. Obviously we don't need any masking for the bottom section here. There is a nice space right under here. I can feel it with my fingernail, where we'll be able to tuck the vinyl in and get our blade in there really nicely, very clean. If we take note, right back here, there is a joint, okay? So this joint back here is where we do our cut. We don't do this piece and that piece all in one shot. We don't need to, because we have this joint right here. It's a seam. It's going to show up no matter what, right? So it's going to, there's no point in even trying to do that all in one piece. You're not supposed to. All right, so as we get down here, again, we're good. We've got a nice space on the bottom here. I can just basically cut the vinyl off flush. I can tuck it in a little bit underneath if I need to, and that's about it. I have the longest piece already cut, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wipe the panel down. I've already wiped it, but I'm going to wipe it again with isopropyl alcohol. We don't want to soak it too much, as we want the isopropyl to dry. So let's go all the way end to end here. And then we're going to take our piece of vinyl after I use some heat just to dry it off a little bit. So the heat is going to help evaporate any excess isopropyl alcohol that might be kicking around. Perfect. We've got our piece of film. Cut pretty much it's cut to the length. It's a little bit wider than it needs to be, but that's okay. Having excess vinyl is better than not having enough vinyl, okay? We can always trim off excess, we can never add more. What we're going to do here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start it on the bottom. I'm going to anchor it to the pillar, I'm going to anchor it to the other chrome trim on the other side, and then I'm going to pull the film tight across the chrome trim. Oh, that's okay. Let's put that in the car. There we go. Again, it's a little bit tedious when we're working with longer pieces, but again, not all that hard to do. What you could be using right now is a glove. So I'm going to stop right there, throw the glove on. This is the Super Glove by Sign-Maker Tools. I love this thing. So we're just going to keep the film taut. Again, I much prefer this way because I know that I'm going to get full coverage this way. And I'm in complete control of how much vinyl I have. So again, I'm not pulling the film excessively, just keeping it taut. Perfect. So we want to come just over the top edge of the actual chrome trim. This way we're getting the coverage that we need. When we open this door, it does not expose, or the chrome trim does not pop out. The door is frameless, so when we open this, it doesn't do anything. I did forget that it was stuck down here. It's okay, I didn't rip anything. All right, so let's lift this up. Get that out of the way so we can actually see what's happening here. Make sure we're being thorough and pushing out all the air. And we're using an air release vinyl, and I want to come just under with my thumb. It does help to have the windows rolled down. Come just under with my thumb or my finger and get the film tucked in under that chrome trim. There we go. You'll see how quick and easy this can be. So again, I want to make sure that I'm coming in over the top. You can use your squeegee to make sure that you're getting in over that top edge. I'm just using my fingers. And I'm using the tape to help pull the film off of that top edge. There we go. To alleviate tension, right? What I'm going to do first is cut where this little seam is right here. So I want to cut right in the gap. Come out the top. And get this out of the way. One piece done there. Let's just stick that there so we don't have to pick it up off the ground. Now I'm going to place my blade in behind the chrome trim, and there's a rubber gasket here. So I don't want to be pushing very hard. I want to be pushing pretty lightly. Pay attention to where you're cutting. There should be very little to no resistance at all. The blade should be gliding very freely, very nicely. You see, I'm just taking my time. It's important to place your arm or your hand on the vehicle to mount yourself or plant yourself, so this way we don't slip. And again, we're not pushing very hard because we have a very sharp blade right now, or a fresh blade. Perfect, that piece is cut all the way through, except for down on the bottom here, so I'm just going to finish this little section off. Excellent. Come across here. go. And we can get this top piece out of the way. Now we still have to tuck it in a little bit. We're going to do that afterwards. Let's do the underside piece. So again, I'm double checking, making sure that I've got coverage. You need coverage before we cut. Double, triple, quadruple check, okay? You don't want to mess this up. So there's a nice gap under here. I'm just going to find it. There we go. Again, the blade should glide very freely, very nicely. As you can see, we're going nice and smooth all the way through. That's just my finger squeaking along the gloss vinyl. This is going to give us full coverage, right? To do this with a pre-cut kit could be very difficult and tedious, even more tedious, because you're trying to get it lined up to the millimeter. Pre-cut kits don't really give you much as far as extra film goes, if any extra film at all. So I have one more cut to do down here, just to finish off the very end of it, and then we're good. So that's one piece already wrapped. Again, we're going to go over it. I don't even need any heat. There's very little tension on this. And because I pulled the film tight, like across the panel itself, or across the chrome trim, the film is actually rolling itself around. So I'll use my squeegee to get in, tuck in a couple of these areas over here, and then we're good. That's good on the bottom. Now we're going to tuck in around the top. And I just use like a scissor motion to get the film tucked in. If your squeegee is too big, you're going to need more of a specialty tucking tool. So I'm going to use something like this. Now, there's all kinds of different tucking tools on the market. Let's use my finger, go faster here actually. Get it pre-rolled around. So you just find whatever's kind of best for you. There's lots though to choose from. So with the rubber trim in there, sometimes we have to push down. So I'm using a wrap stick flex right now. This is probably my favorite tucking tool. And this is helping to get the film tucked in really nicely, right in between that rubber chrome, or that rubber trim on the top and the chrome itself. This is what happens when we leave excess. We have to tuck it in, right? Or we trim it off. I prefer to tuck it in. This is going to give us better coverage in the end. Right in around the top. I'll show you this in about 1 minute, what we're looking like. And you also don't want to leave too much vinyl. If we leave too much vinyl, obviously that's going to be a problem because you're not going to be able to tuck all of it in. These spaces are very tight between the rubber trim and the chrome. So if we leave too much, you're going to be in a different kind of situation where you're going to be struggling to get the film actually tucked in and looking good. And in that case, if you leave too much, what you do is you just trim off the excess very carefully. There's a bit extra film over here. There we go. And it's done. So this piece is all finished. I'm going to bring you in to have a look at it, and I'm just going to go over it right here. See a tiny spot right here. Let's push that down. Being thorough, very important. It gives you the best result when you go over your work. Don't be lazy. Yeah, I'm glad I went over it because I see that I need to tuck in a little bit more right around that spot there. Nice. Again, I'll put a link in the description below for tucking tools. There are other ones that I use also that will do the job. And let's bring you in. So we can see there's no silver chrome shining anywhere through there. We'll go around the whole top side here. And then here's the separate piece right here. So let's get underneath. I'll only be able to get the camera in so many places here. That's it. All right, guys, and that's the top long piece across the Tesla Model 3. The Model S, very similar. Their actually trims are almost identical. So if you're doing a Model S or a Model 3, it's going to pretty much work out to be the exact same thing. We're going to get into doing the side marker, door handles, and the rear quarter window, and one of these window trims also to show you how that's done. Again, I hope this video was informative and helpful for you. If it was, don't forget to give it a like. Again, thank you for watching very much. Take care.